Hello my friends and welcome to episode 5 of our Motorsport Manager Let's Play with Predator Racing. I have looked at some other drivers to replace Santa Ana. Unfortunately it's going to cost a lot to get her out of contract, so that's not so ideal. We didn't get anywhere near as much racing done as we needed to in regards to the race choice, purely because we can go one stop here way in this, I think. Oh no, let's go Inter actually. Inter, we can get 5-6 laps out of that and push away, and we will do the same with Frankie. We'll load the setup excuse me, from Ines' car. Excuse me, because that was overall a better setup. Should be down here somewhere. Ardennes, there we are. And fuel choice, we'll go Inter again and down to about 7 laps because that's what we're going to need. And again, push on both because we're going to be able to do that. Yes, the tyres do suit the current conditions. As you see, everyone else running Inters, apart from a few of them wet. Really not the smartest idea to tell me that it's not the right setup, because I know that it is. In fact, there's a few of us on it straight away. Frankie Kinney has that new gearbox and that lit off. Their reliability on that is similar now to the other gearboxes, so put it on for them. And that was a lightning start from the Aussie. Was another Australian driver I actually looked at to replace in a Santa Ana. It's 800,000 to break her contract, and he was wanting a similar wage. It just wasn't worth it, I don't think. New sponsor isn't great either. In fact, that replaced one of our old predominant sponsors, shall we say. But right now we can see us pulling away from those wet track cars. In fact, I think we can go overtake mode here, attack mode almost, on both these tyres. Really push it out. Frankie Kinney is still leading it after 3 laps. That's pretty good. It is getting to wet tyre tracks rather quicker than what I anticipated, but I do think we're going to pull out enough of a lead before we do that. I think we've got another lap in us here before we need to stop for those wet tyres. In which case that'll be a fairly short stint as well. By the looks of it, it is coming down fairly quickly, but I will fill us right up. So there we go. Wet tyres for Frankie. We'll fuel him up for the full stint, or as long as we can. Everything else is fine, and we will do the same with Santa Ana. Purely based on, I see no reason why not to. It does look like it's going to be raining for a fair bit, stay fairly heavy. We do have a fair gap between them, 4.9 seconds, first and 6th running order just now, but I do think that this is now switching into wet weather tyre territory, although we are still just about gaining on Tang, who is the lead wet tyre driver at the minute. Be interesting to see how well this strategy is played off. Santa Ana is actually queuing here, that's not good. Mistake as well, fuel in. We're now behind all the wet drivers. It's a bad pit stop, bad pit stop, but we are now on the right tyre once again, so we should come out ahead of the other Inter drivers at least. I think we just struggled to get enough out of them, to be honest. We will go medium on fuel. In fact, no, we'll go high on fuel because, again, you see it changes within about 6-7 laps, so actually we've overfueled here. We have indeed jumped everyone in the pits. Unfortunately, Santa Ana obviously queuing. It wasn't quite as big a gap as what was maybe anticipating for that, plus the mistake on Frankie Kinney's car. So we're running 15th and 19th. If we can get the next pit stop right, we'll be in good shape. Unfortunately, I think the starting on Inters for the first few laps just wasn't quite long enough of a stint for us to justify it. Dry to Inters obviously would have been a big difference, and dry to wets are obviously a huge difference over a couple of laps, but inters to wets didn't seem to be too much of an issue. But Frankie's still doing fairly well there in 15th, holding off a number of drivers. In fact, this would be a very good result for us if we could hold on to this just now. Other cars are pitting. I wonder if those wet tyres are just not coping well enough to last. We will hold off a little bit in terms of our next stop with Frankie, but I may pit Santana early, sort of maybe in a lap or two, give her a quick interblast, and then switch to the dries, see if that makes a difference. Some cars are already going straight on the dries. They will be extremely slow for a good little while. Frankie Kinney in 5th, Santa Ana in 9th. In fact, I will stop at Santa Ana at the end of this lap for a set of inters. No fuel. In fact, we'll put a lap of fuel in because, you know, we can hit that hard. But I do think inters would be the right tyre to be on at the end of this lap. And I want to see, we're going for an extra stop with Santa Ana, whereas Frankie will go direct to the dries in a lap's time. So, see how we get on here. Santa Ana coming in straight on the inters. Right, keep on that set up. That's fine. I reckon we get maybe 1-2 laps out of you. Frankie, you've got another lap in you, pal. In fact, no you don't. Let's come in straight onto the super softs now. And 22 lap race. That would last the race, so we can do that. 13 lap, yeah, no chance. So we go for these, and we go for, say, about a 7 lap stint here. 6 lap stint. Keep them on that setup. Santa Ana is definitely on the right tyre just now. It's whether it lasts another lap here or not is the question. I think Santa Ana in very good shape. In fact, has she overtaken Frankie Kinney? She has. No, she hasn't. But she is on the right tyre, so we are going to switch her at the end of this lap. And go for 6 laps worth of fuel this time. Again, she just wouldn't get to the end on the fuel rather than anything else. Can keep her very aggressive on strategy here. We are now coming into between the inter to dry sort of switch time. Unfortunately, I think the pit stop's just been too long for her and the traffic too much. You see, she is definitely probably the fastest car out there at the minute. Frankie Kinney fighting in 13th. Which is interesting. I'm surprised at some of the drivers, how well they've coped. I think we maybe would have got another lap out of in a Santa Ana there. Unfortunately, it's not worked out that way. Bring her down on a high and push, which seems to be working fairly well for Frankie Kinney in 13th. We will need to stop. There was no way we could have got to the end on the set of tyres. Rather, we could have got to the end on the tyres. We couldn't have got to the end on the fuel tank. I did abstain the last vote, which was down to the amount of tyres that we have choice for next season. I'm not sure if that was more or less, but either way, I didn't care enough to use the vote basically, whereas I felt the extra vote would be more beneficial in saving the engines cost next I've mind blanked, guys. Suspension week. Do need to work on this reliability. We are pushing that as much as we can now. I've stopped improving performance. We are getting some risky parts coming through the development centre. I've completely blanked on what I was trying to say. I have completely blanked, and it's a bit embarrassing. We've got an extra couple of laps here in Frankie. We will push on the tyres completely. The tyres are now at maximum temperature. Still showing us a bit damp actually, which is interesting. Frankie in 10th, but he is going to have to make repairs, unfortunately. once again. We've got 5 laps or so remaining, 6 laps, we'll go for that. 17 seconds worth of repairs. We are improving though, so that's fine. Santa Ana, we'll wait until Frankie pits before we call her in. She's got an extra lap in her, I think. Again, we can go aggressive on the tyres. Is Frankie really pushing? Unfortunately, 17-second pit stop guaranteed. Means that it probably takes her out the run-in for this sponsored objective, which we were doing so well for today. Unfortunately. She wouldn't have had to have stacked there either, which is a shame. We could have brought her in at the same time. She's got enough fuel to get to the end, which is helpful. She will not need to make repairs. Frankie actually mistake on the pit stop as well again. I'm kind of hoping that everyone else still needs to stop again. There was something I was saying, and I'm really sorry, guys. Maybe you guys know. Let me know in the comments. And hit like, subscribe when you're down there. You know, a lot of you aren't subscribed to the channel. It's a big help when you do. Santa Ana now in for her pit stop. Hopefully no mistakes again. But Frankie Kinney sweeps straight through in 16th after that slow pit stop. Unfortunately, everyone else has just about managed 2 pit stops. In fact, some of them on 1, which is absolutely crazy. They will surely have to stop again. They have indeed. But 52 seconds ahead. It's not something that Frankie Kinney is going to benefit from here. In fact, a lot of people stop in. Maybe we could get a couple. Oh, gearbox. No, it's not ideal. Go back to pushing medium here actually then. 16th it was. He didn't gain any positions. We can't push with him anymore, unfortunately. Frankie Kinney having a good race though. Again, those repairs, 17 seconds. You think of 17 seconds there. It's in the fight in this area here. Unfortunately, just that repair cost them so much. We need to get reliability into the car. Something that we'll certainly look for next season. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen this season, but we're running 17th and 19th, so, you know, decent. We're ahead of one of the ZRTs. Unfortunately, the other one is comfortably ahead of us, which is disappointing because Frankie Kinney would have been comfortably ahead of that car, which would have been taking big points out of them, and we could have maybe finished 9th. But I do think we've got some very good repairs for next season, so that's helpful. I don't think Santa Ana's going to catch him as well, actually. That's frustrating that she can't catch Dreyfus, because that's an extra point for Dembele. Unfortunately for us, we do have that extra lap's worth of fuel. We can't push Frankie Kinney any more than what we already are because of that part condition. Down at 10%. Santana's parts are fine, but obviously she has the benefit of car wear less on her engineer perks, so you know that helps her massively. Can Frankie hold on to 16th? Because no, he can't. In fact, that looks like a problem for Frankie. He's slowed right down here. Right down. It's a huge chunk of time on that last lap lost. In fact, it was a problem. It was his tyres. Mismanaged the tyres a bit there. And that cost Frankie Kinney a point, which is another 2-point swing for ZRT. And what was a fairly decent race today as well. I think the interstint for Santa Ana was too much. The repair for Frankie obviously hurt him in this stop. 17 seconds difference. Would have been huge. Would have been huge. No deal's broken. We do have, as I say, risky parts coming through. I'm looking at more potential on them because we're not going to use them this season, so getting the max out of them this season is not necessary, but getting the max out of them next season is. So hopefully we can, you know, really look to push for 2-3 seasons, really big development. 1.2 million in our kitty for that, and continue on. Obviously, what's the date? Calendar date 2016. Next season, this season, you've got to win the championship for that achievement. It's absolutely insane how quickly they want you to do it. We will do the interview once again, which I'm not answering that. Team marketability takes a hit. Great. Pit crew, looking okay in places. Needs a bit of work, and other places have hired more people in there. As you see, developing a suspension, that's a risky part. We do have risky brakes, which, as you see, 105 compared to 75. Big upgrade. It is actually low risk, so might be more risk in this year, but I think let's just save the money kind of thing. We've got another scout report, I'll show you that. So he is a hard worker, media shy, so all of this down, and that's a permanent trait as well, so no point in even considering him, plus big contract break cost for Sadabo. Overall, sponsorship wise, we are 2-star appeal, which is a bit frustrating. Obviously you want to be sitting about 4-star, 5-star if you can. We're nowhere close to that. Anyway guys, I'm going to end this episode here. We'll be back in Munich in 31 days time. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll hopefully catch you all next time.